Hey, what up? It's WizWord. I'm back to do another MPC Beats tutorial. This one's going to be real simple and basic. MPC Beats 101. The menu. I'm going to set up the camera and we'll get started. Alright. All set up, ready to go here. Pretty simple. You can start up here in the top corner. First thing is File. And this will contain your new projects. A new project from a template. Templates are good to set up your MIDI preferences and stuff like that. So you got a MIDI scene down here. It contains a lot of information. Basically, everything that can be set up on the MPC can be in your template, basically. Alright, and then load recent. That's self-explanatory, some of the stuff you've been working on recently. Next one is to save the project that you're working on. The next one is to save your project as, which basically lets you name it, pick out your name, and name the project. The next one is save all programs. So the MPC and MPC Beats, MPC Studio, they're like always recording anything you touch or alter in this DAW interface. And the programs are basically your drum kits, your sound kits. It's your program. The sounds, basically. That'll be assigned to your pads. Alright. The current program is the one that you're using. That'll be highlighted. That if you hit the play button, it'll play that sequence using that program, and that's the one it's going to save. The one that's you can hit play and you're going to hear those sounds. The next one is to save your current sequence, and your sequence is like the MIDI data for your drum pattern, and those set up back in here. And I follow the cursor when I'm talking about stuff. That's basically what I'm talking about, what the cursor is at. Save MIDI control scene, and that's like for your control surface, your keyboard, or your MPC. What else could you be using? Any MIDI controller, faders, mixer type stuff. Your export, that's basically the fun part. That's how you get everything out of here that you've created. And it gives you quite a few options. Your project archive, I really haven't used it. I guess it would be self-explanatory to save it as an archive rather than the regular project. Save pattern as pattern. I really haven't used that as much. The next is for your different types of MPCs, the actual MPC hardware. And they're all named here, as you can see. The sequences for each one, program for each one. Save as, regular MIDI files. And MIDI track file. Now your mix down is how you get everything out of here. Let's click on that and I'll show you what it does. It's where you start, that's where it ends. If you want the synthesizers or something that has a lot of reverb or something to keep going at the end of the song, you add your audio tail. Sometimes it's a little tricky, you gotta export a couple to get it just right. But those little fine details make the difference. Go on down here, you got the stereo in outs, all these options, sub mixes, the whole thing here. You're not going to have so much working in Beats as you would the studio. Separate programs. And that renders a separate audio file for each program. And then there's like your stems. And you also have the exploded tracks. And you go into, if you want to use your returns or your mains, outs. Project preview is really cool. You click that and then that saves it, so when you go through your menus, I'd say your documents menu or your projects are stored. It gives you a preview, which really saves time compared to loading up the file just to hear it. I mean, it gives you a, you know, an MP3 or WAV to hear in the list. That's a real cool feature. And then there's the, oh no. I've been talking like you guys can see what I've been doing down here in the audio mix. Let me see if I could get this camera over there. Sorry for shakiness. I don't think it'll line up for me on it with the table. Alright. Won't let me move it over to either. I put it over here in the top corner, but it won't let me move it. That's just type files you add and the bit depths and sample rates. And basically you hit export and it'll ask you where you want to save it at, and you put in your documents or wherever works for you. Okay. I might edit that, I don't know what I want to do. Next up, got to export and exit, and that just leaves the program. That's the end of the first one there for file. Next one is your edits. Undo, always good. Redo. Any mistake you make, anything you just adjusted, you want to change back, edit, undo, redo. Undo history was your full undo history. It's also down in the bottom right corner, headed that way far down. Cut and paste, basically like anything else you cut and pasted. MPC works that way. Mostly moving stuff around here on your sequencer. Nudge events. That's pretty self-explanatory if you just want to move some stuff around real easy. Saves you some heartache of trying to click on every little thing all the time, but on your sidebar you could adjust the size of the track you're looking at and stuff. Makes it real easy. It's got some little sliders. Time correct, pretty self-explanatory. You can apply it. That's your quant stuff basically. Now you can set it up. pitch quants down here. Humanize, kind of, I wouldn't say doing the opposite, but just adding a little bit of off timing. And there's other ways to do this in here, in the pad section. Audio region. That's with your audio tracks. Duplicate, mute, reverse, warps. Play with your samples and stuff. Sequence. That's your drums, basically your drum pattern. It can have trigger samples of melodies and stuff in there. It just depends on how you do work. If you're gonna use a sample or play a plug-in or something else, you know. What over here? Audio region. Yeah, that one's pretty small. And the sequence got a lot of stuff in here. Clear. That'll clear the whole thing there for you. Half length to make it half. Double length will double it up for you. That's one way to make a song real fast. It's not the best technique, but it's pretty easy. Insert blank bars. That'll help you make your sequence longer if you want to add some steps or remove steps. Copy bars. Let you copy some of the bars. It's a lot of, you copy stuff and then you go back up in here, up to your menu again, and you go in and you have to place it back in this area. But once you get it down, you'll understand it, and moving stuff around. And copy sequence, it'll copy it to another sequence in this bar, and you have numbers up under here of your sequences. So it goes from there. What was I? We're still here, sequence. Copy sequence, copy track. Is in the sequences you can have different audio tracks down there. Depending on how you set it up, you could have one track of all your whole song, or you could set it up where you track out everything. You only have 8 in Beats, but if you have Studio, you got, I believe, up to 100 and something. Transpose, you change the octave, pitch. Erase just does it, erase what you have clicked. You got your little, I don't know if you can see here, but your little pencil box eraser to edit. Edit double speed, edit half speed, self-explanatory. Sorry, events, double speed, events, half speed. That's kind of self-explanatory, just double half speeds it, whatever. I don't really do it that way, but you can. I just change beats per minute up at the top in your tempo. I do tempo change. Next sequence, we'll skip it up for you. If you have one set up to go in, previous goes backwards. Guess kind of just, test out some sounds. Not really important on here because you could just flip up here and do it. I think it's more of the actual MPC hardware type way of navigation. Export as MIDI takes your pattern, your sequence pattern, and makes it a little MIDI sequence file. Bounce to sample will make it a little audio sample for editing, and then the audio track makes the audio track you put into the DAW. We did sequence, track, got some of the same features as sequence, about the same thing. You know, basically a MIDI track or an plug-in track in which you do the same thing to bounce them around, make it into an audio sample, and export it as MIDI. And then some navigation features and split events for editing, chop it up. But there's other chop stuff in MPC, of course. That's for a different program episode. Alright, and then you get to here. From track you go to program, which what I'm saying is like your drum kit, your sound kit. The majority of the song file stuff. Pad color, it changes little pads. Note mapping, if you're familiar with note mapping, that's where it's at and you can use it there. Flatten pad is like how the pads are set up to be controlled and stuff. That's more of having an MPC. Refresh samples, metadata. I really haven't used it, but I guess it would slice start by one sample. I'm not really sure, I haven't used this, so. I'm gonna have to check it out. Still way up here, huh? We're in the program here. Bounce the sample, audio tracks. Duplicate program. My new technique, I use this stuff a lot. I just I'll duplicate the programs and the sequences and move them on down for each part of the song. Copy pads is real cool. That you copy your pads to different programs, copy the whole program. You know, just part of how you mix stuff down. You do it in here. Same thing, bounce the sample, make them audio, your pad programs. I should say the pads for the program. And then your preferences is how you set up the MPC. Try to get you a little bit of angle over here. It's not going to do very well. Your audio devices, your sound card, stuff like that, you set it up here. Your inputs, outputs, latency adjustment, real simple in that one. And same thing, setting up your MIDI. If you have something plugged in, it plugs in pretty easy depending on what device you're using. I use Oxygen 49 and it connects really nice. No problems really. That's just your basic MIDI stuff. That's basically a different episode, getting into all this deeply. Plugins, I got another video about how to do all that stuff. That's right in here. Your sequencer, this is just like, I want to call that I want to say like default setting, basically. You want some default stuff set up. And then your MIDI hardware. I really haven't had to use this for much of anything, really. It's got your pad curve, your thresholds. Guess setting up something, if your triggers ain't working very good or something, maybe you need to adjust it. And just prop to defaults, like if you want, like you use a certain tempo a lot, you can set it up here. The number of bars you use and time signature, stuff like that. How you do your pad slice. Your key group filter. You even have a default on that, and the type of the plugin for your like synthesizer you use a lot, or maybe a drum plugin or something. You could set that up, and it loads up. Not as a default, not really a template, but default for your new projects. And project load and save, self-explanatory, auto loads, and then your auto save. That's really important. Load that up. You can set it up 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, whatever you want to do. But yeah, use your auto save. And if you have a certain template you want to auto load, you can just set it up right there. Same thing. Last one is just your recording bit depth. Self-explanatory basic stuff. Like I saying, you got that auto tail and stuff like that for your exporting. And last you have just your general, like you got these vintage modes, kind of like an effects chain of supposed to make the MPC sound emulation of the hardware. And then stuff for when you're auditioning your song previews and your samples, that stuff in here, your warp stuff, how to set that up. You got a few little options. I really haven't changed it because it's the best sound, so I'm leaving it with the best sound. Why not? BPM. This stuff helps when you're chopping and you use your warp on how it would be in a whole different video to get in depth on some of this stuff in here. And then your processors and stuff like that. Threads and stuff. I believe that's everything there. And then next is your tools. Metronome, how to set that up gives you tons of options. Where it's going to play from, where it goes, all that. Shoot. Maybe if I put this back over here, you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, tools and your metronome stuff. Right here. Sorry. 16 level is part of your pad setup. That's basically for another episode. A lot of people use it. I'm not really into setting it up. Let's go back. Where were tools? Pidgeator, that's for your plug-in stuff. If you know what it is, it's like strumming guitars and stuff. It plays them certain ways. Your keys. And chords, I should say, your note chords. I was thinking piano keys, but my brain didn't put it together right. MIDI keys, pad keys. That's for like switching. If you're gonna mess around with the onboard pads, or if you're gonna play keyboards and stuff. Pad keys, MIDI keys. Delete unused samples. That's if you got a bunch of stuff building up over here in your samples. That'd be in your bottom right corner of the sequence. It won't fit in the camera right now. Auto sampler I really mess with, but I imagine it chops the samples for you automatic. I really haven't messed with it. Generate random events is really cool. If you're into music theory and stuff, you could set up a lot of stuff in there. Kill clipper. Got some options in the whole thing of variations and densities and patterns. Basically generates notes for you. It's like AI type thing. Alright, and let's go back. Where's tools? Auto, okay, random events. Convert to progression. That's for chords. If you hook in your keyboard or even the pads, they let you do all kind of chord stuff. It's really cool. Rather than just playing ting 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 little notes, you could do some chord progression with the pads. It really makes some good music. You would think it's just basic drumming, but no, it's not. You get into chord progressions and all that stuff on an MPC. Current sample to key group, that basically takes your sample and sends you over here and makes it a key group, and then you can play it on the keyboard and all the octaves down here. Key group, rebuild media data browse base. I really mess with that. I assume for older systems on the MPCs, when you had to limited amount of space, you always wanted to keep stuff cleaned up. It's not really important on a PC. Me, I like to save everything, even like the process of how I make a song. Like if I have different versions, like the next day, I don't like to change that one. I'll start working on it, but I'll use save as and save it as A, B, 2 or whatever of, whatever the original song name was, whatever. It's like everything starts as an idea. It's not always a song. You're like going through samples and stuff and like, oh, this is going to be cool, but not everything's there yet, so you gotta build up. It takes time. I mean, I've done a few. I mean, set up some real nice kits and bang some stuff out in a few hours, but it's not really a complete song. Until you throw in some drops and do everything, get it all set up and get your effects chains going and all that stuff. Where were we? Retrospective record, which is great for your MIDI. You play in MIDI and you didn't hit record. You just, as long as the track's selected and you played something there, it's going to be saving it for you, and you can retrospective record it. And I think every DAW should have this. Stop all sounds, that's just a regular MIDI thing. Sometimes you got reverbs that go into infinity, so you got to stop all sounds. Doesn't always work. Some songs will still keep going. They got a mind of their own. Plugin manager, self-explanatory. That's how you get all your plugins, turn them off and on. Scan, there's your rescan there. Expansion manager, same thing. All your little expansions at the other side there. I mean, you can open that up, close it back down, whatever, back in there. Expansions. Oh, that was my hand. It's just that sure. And also, you know, if you're really into drum machines, old school MPC, there you go. You even have the classic view there. If that's your thing. It's really cool, I thought, but I don't really need to use that. Everything else, the visuals right here on the DAW. Back in here. Okay, views. These are your modes. This is some important stuff here. This is for when you got your loop pattern, your sequences done, and you want to mix down your song. You get your main mode, track view, switches this one up. Kind of, it's this stuff here, basically. These little guys up here. Except there's a few more that's not on, you know, it's not all up there. Your track mutes, let you mute your tracks, depending on how many, it just depends on how you build a song, if you're going to use that or not, because there's pad, let me start at the top again. Let's just quit jumping around. Track view, program edits, like I'm saying, it's basically a lot of this stuff at the top at first. Your sequencer, your mixers, pad mixer, and I'm gonna grab it. I don't really want to mess up. Down straight under this, you also have little mixers and stuff in this corner, and it's kind of like that stuff. The controllers, your sampler and looper, like I'm saying, they're up here too. Song mode. That's where I finish a lot of my songs. I get my sequences and then I just throw them in there. I used the pad mute for a while, but I just copy sequences now and do mutes and stuff through that. That works for me easier. There's no wrong way to do this, you know. And your MIDI control, I have nothing hooked up, so I can't really do that. And you get into that up more, you have to, that's a whole nother video, and that stuff's all on the other side of the screen to get all that set up. And then Q-Link mode, I call them quick links because you could set up different stuff through them. That's kind of like the episode itself, but your options are the Q-Links that control the project. There's Q-Links. It's kind of like a studio interface, I guess. I would call it like a mixer kind of synthesizer control, because you could do LFOs, volumes, pannings. Project program, your pad scenes, your pad parameters. That's where you basically building your own sounds in the pad scene. That's where you customize. You know, you're taking this sample and you're making it your own. I mean, just experiment, go through it. You'll learn that stuff real quick. Toggle audio and MIDI mode. That's just like shortcut, but really, I mean, that's not even necessary in this. You just click it with the mouse. Workspace is just simple. Advanced gives you just more stuff. But advanced, go with advanced. Just learn everything. I mean, you don't have to learn it all at once, but toolbar is just the stuff you want to add up and visually what you want to see. Like when you click this and make a template and stuff, it should be saving it for you. Like, you don't have to go back and do it every time. inspector. I guess I always have it on. I don't really mess with this stuff. Not really even sure what that does. I haven't messed with it, really like used it or anything. Browse. I don't really browse this way. I use the right side of the screen has all the little icons and stuff for all that stuff, so I do everything that way. MIDI learn, that's to set up all your controller and stuff, MIDI monitor, your in and out. Pretty much explanatory. MIDI's working or not. Like I'm saying, a lot of this stuff's on the side of the other side of there. Project notes, you write your stuff in, your info, like your metadata. Quick help if you need help, and tags at the bottom. Show me the keyboard. That gets rid of this little keyboard I had on at the bottom. Oh, these they have the little shortcut keys. Basically what you're seeing on screen. You can switch up and stuff. I mean, you can do it through here, or you could do it clicking the cursor on stuff, and it does a lot of the same things. And you know, just view on your dot. But the modes, that's where it's at. That's where you're gonna use all that stuff. Definitely, you gotta learn all that. Quick help, not help you out. Keyboard shortcuts, they're all there. Beats help, get you to some videos, whatever. Release note data. I really haven't had to use the setup guides for the MPC control. Updates, you just click that, get you some updates. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Expansion stores, you want to buy some new expansions. Startup wizard, I guess, if you want to reinstall it. And your little upgrade thing. I guess that's gonna be it for this video. Any questions or ideas or what I should do next? I mean, what video I should make next? Let me know. And thanks for your time. And we're out of here.